What happens when we die? Well, this question has haunted humanity since the dawn of self-awareness, a specter at the edge of every life. It is arguably the most profound mystery we confront, giving rise to our religions, our philosophies, some of our deepest anxieties. The answers offered are vast and varied, promises of eternal paradise, the stark finality of non-existence. In this exploration, we will navigate the territory between ancient belief and modern medical understanding. We will set aside comforting fictions to examine what we actually know about the process of dying. The goal is not to dismantle faith, but to build a clear, rational framework for contemplating our own end. The chasm between myth and medical fact is immense. On one side, we have deeply ingrained cultural narratives of souls ascending to ethereal realms, facing judgment, being reborn into new lives. These stories provide immense psychological comfort, offering a sense of continuity and cosmic justice. On the other side, neuroscience depicts death as a physiological cascade ending in irreversible cessation of brain function. This essay will walk the line between these perspectives, examining the evidence without flinching, while acknowledging the human need for meaning in the face of oblivion. To a medical professional, death is not a singular, instantaneous event, but a process with specific, observable markers. The terminology used in a hospital setting is crucial. We must distinguish clinical death and brain death. Clinical death is cessation of circulation and respiration. The heart stops, breathing ceases, no pulse, unresponsive. For a brief window, it can be reversed with rapid intervention. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation and defibrillation can restart the heart and restore oxygen flow before irreversible damage. Timing is everything. Brain death is the point of no return. Complete and irreversible loss of all brain function, including the brainstem. A brain-dead patient cannot regain consciousness or breathe independently. Machines may maintain oxygenation and organ viability for a time, but the integrated conscious individual is gone. Physicians perform rigorous tests, reflex checks, response to stimuli, and independent breathing assessments. This clinical certainty legally and ethically defines the end of life. Confusion with coma or vegetative states is common. In coma, brainstem often functions and recovery may be possible. A patient in a coma is alive. A brain-dead patient is not. The distinction guides choices about withdrawing life support and is the precondition for ethical organ donation. Science offers no mechanism for a soul to depart or consciousness to persist outside the brain's electrochemical web. When neural hardware fails catastrophically, thoughts, feelings, and self-awareness are extinguished. This is the stark reality medicine confronts daily, grounded in observable evidence, not metaphysics. Understanding begins with precise definitions. When the heart stops pumping and the lungs stop drawing air, a predictable sequence unfolds within cells and tissues. The primary crisis is oxygen deprivation. The brain, the most metabolically active organ, suffers first, consuming about 20% of our oxygen despite being 2% of body weight. Within seconds of circulatory arrest, consciousness is lost. Within minutes, neurons die, largely irreversible, underpinning death's finality. As the brain fails, other organs begin shutting down without command or blood flow. Body temperature declines toward ambient, algor mortis. Without metabolic energy, muscles stiffen, rigor mortis, typically within 2 to 6 hours, later resolving as decomposition begins. Decomposition takes over, driven by the body's internal environment. Trillions of microbes break down tissues from the inside out, aided by external microbes. Gradual dissolution of structure returns matter to the environment, part of Earth's nutrient cycle, a final passive participation in the web of existence. Not all cells die at the same rate. While the brain fails first, skin and some connective tissues can remain viable for hours. Hence, skin and corneas can be harvested well after the heart has stopped. Dying is a process. A highly organized system unwinds into parts, ending the biology that once supported a conscious mind. Clarity about the process reduces fear of the unknown. Near-death experiences, or NDEs, are emotionally charged and compelling. People report floating outside their body, moving toward a brilliant light, profound peace, and encounters with deceased loved ones. These accounts often lessen fear of death. Science examines them through neurobiology, not metaphysics. Under extreme duress, the brain may release endorphins explaining peace and painlessness. Altered TPJ activity can produce out-of-body sensations. The tunnel may reflect constricting visual fields as the occipital lobe shuts down. Studies suggest paradoxical bursts of coherent gamma activity post-arrest. The brain might stage a hyper-conscious final attempt to integrate chaotic input. Vivid, hyper-real scenes could be this last cascade. While NDEs feel transcendent, they aren't verifiable evidence of a soul leaving the body. Their origin is most likely rooted in the material brain. Recognizing this doesn't diminish personal significance. NDEs reveal the brain's profound capacity to generate reality even while failing. They testify to the intricate bond between biology and subjective experience. NDEs are likely a dramatic final act of consciousness as its support collapses. Awe and science can coexist. Clear minds, open hearts. The concept of a soul, an immaterial essence that survives the body, anchors many religions. It promises identity, awareness, and relationships persist in some form. The body as a temporary vessel, spirit journeying to heaven, hell, or rebirth. Dualism is intuitive and moral framework rich, but science approaches consciousness as material and monistic. The consensus: the mind is what the brain does. Thought, emotion, memory, perception arise from neural patterns. fMRI and EEG let us watch the brain work. Damage to specific regions predictably alters personality, memory, and cognition, underscoring mental life's dependence on the physical brain. From this perspective, there is no ghost in the machine. When the brain ceases, waves flatten, metabolism stops, and thought is extinguished. No credible evidence shows an energy or entity leaving at death. Claims framed as undetectable are unfalsifiable and outside science. Consciousness remains mysterious. Why subjective experience arises is an open question. Mystery isn't evidence for the supernatural. Science proceeds assuming answers lie in the brain's intricate workings, not in a non-physical realm. Beyond philosophy and science, death presents urgent practical and ethical questions. How we care for the dying measures our compassion and wisdom. Palliative care focuses on relief from symptoms, pain, and stress, improving quality of life for patients and families. It can begin at any stage and transition into hospice, often at home. Making one's wishes known is vital. Advance directives and living wills state preferences. Decisions include life-sustaining treatments and do not resuscitate orders. These documents protect autonomy and values. Another profound choice: organ donation. In brain death, organs can be maintained on support and transplanted. Heart, lungs, liver, kidneys. One donor can save up to 8 lives and help many more via tissue donation. Donation transforms tragedy into hope. Talk with loved ones and register your choice. These considerations make mortality practical, not paralyzing. Decide on aggressive intervention, prioritize comfort, or choose donation before crisis. Waiting burdens grieving families. Planning ahead ensures dignity, clarity, and respect for wishes. Practical compassion brings meaning and grace to our final chapter. We've journeyed from clinical definitions and bodily shutdown, through NDEs and consciousness science, to a clear, consistent picture. Death is the irreversible end of the processes that create and sustain the mind. The body unwinds, the brain goes silent, and the self is extinguished. Spiritual narratives are matters of faith, not empirical evidence. Science points to a definitive end. Acceptance need not mean despair. Finitude can give urgency and meaning. If this is our only life, each moment is precious. Relationships and experiences shine by impermanence. Our capacity for joy and discovery is more valuable because it ends. Let mortality motivate living more fully, ethically, appreciatively. Living well becomes our central task. Let rational understanding guide end-of-life choices. Palliative care, advanced directives, organ donation. These bring meaning and grace. Science gives an evidence framework but cannot dictate meaning. Death is not experienced. It is the end of the experiencer. Rather than fear the void, honor the rare, finite gift of consciousness. The mystery is not what comes after, but that we are here, aware and alive, right now.